Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, Moltrap here, coming at you with another StarCraft commentary, and this is from the MSL100 series. This is number 60, and this is going to be a match between sAviOr, none other than Yooi, and the Maestro of Zerg, and Yooi. And yeah, I've talked about both these guys before. I think I talked about Yooi in a different game before. I don't remember. It's kind of a character he is in the Star Leagues, unfortunately. He's going to be the Terran at the top left, by the way, and sAviOr's going to be the green Zerg in the bottom right. So Yooi is a player who was kind of one of those perennial qualifiers or almost qualifiers. He was like, and I want to emphasize, by the way, that I kind of, from the perspective of analyzing champions, I kind of, in the past and now kind of dump on players like him a little bit, and I want to emphasize that, he's still like top 50 in the entire world at this game, right? He's still really, really good if he's getting into the qualifiers and what have you of these Star Leagues. And here he is actually in the quarterfinal. So, top 8 players basically for this entire Star League. So it's quite an accomplishment for him to get here. But he wasn't someone that made it to a lot of championships or anything like that. He never won any championships. And overall, not the best record in the highest levels of the leagues. So, he's not quite on the level of what sAviOr was. sAviOr is kind of, at this point, this game is being played in the middle of 2006. And at this point, he has not quite reached the god status yet. He won an MSL in 2005, and then he got second place in the MSL just previous to this, and we've seen those games between him and Choja, and so he's definitely doing well, but he hasn't gotten to the point where he's unbeatable or anything like that. So this is a testing ground for sAviOr to see if he can stick it out and get multiple titles in a row, and it's a test for Yooi to see if he can get out of the quarterfinals, basically. So I've got my predictions about the way this game is going to go, and you might be able to tell what they are based on kind of these players' backgrounds, but hopefully it'll be a fun game either way. So, and I do want to mention again, by the way, that sAviOr, I've said this before, but I kind of always want to give a caveat when I cast sAviOr games that he was a jerk, and he led a match-fixing ring in StarCraft that didn't just ruin his own. Oh, is he gonna he guts the drone up the ramp? He's gonna be able to get his scout in, and that's exactly what Yoi's trying to prevent. By the way, I was gonna comment on his clever behavior at the ramp, keeping things off, but it looks like it's all to no avail. That drone is gonna get in there. He builds his factory up at the top though, so sAviOr isn't gonna be able to scout that, but he does at least get a scout in. Oh, maybe he is gonna scout it. Yeah, this Marine is slacking. And oh, is he gonna go? I think he went far enough to see that. Yeah, I'm sure he went far enough to see that and clicked on it. And now he's running back to try and save that drone. And he does save the drone. So masterfully done by sAviOr. But anyway, so I just want to give the caveat that I feel like it's hard for me to cast sAviOr games because I feel like it's almost endorsing him because he was a really, really good player. But at the same time, I really don't want to give him any more splendor or credit than I need to, because it wasn't just that he ruined his own career by doing the match fixing scandal, and he was kind of a little bit washed up at that point. Well, I shouldn't say washed up, but he wasn't in his top form by the time he was match fixing anyway, as far as we know. But he also, by leading this ring of it, he cast so much doubt on the entire esports industry. It was a huge blow to the game itself. So it wasn't just sAviOr ruining himself or ruining the people that he was involved with. He actually effed things up for a lot of people and really, really messed up the image of esports. And so that is the most disappointing thing of all. So that's why I don't want to give him any credit, because it's just like, you know what, screw you, sAviOr. I'm sorry, I know people are probably still sAviOr fanboys, and he still streams, I think, on Africa, so if you want to watch him play, but I can't give him any respect after what he did. So, but let's just keep that out of our minds and watch this game and just watch it for the gameplay it is, because this is all before that. This is in 2006, before any of that stuff happened. And we have a starport with a control tower being built by Yooi here. So very interesting here. Are we going to see some cloaked wraiths or something like that? We've got a spire going down, and you know, he could theoretically. Usually we see Terrans. Oh, and an evolution chamber. Interesting. Ooh, interesting. You know, that could be for upgrades, obviously, but he might like suspect some kind of shenanigans, I guess. And there's a second starport going down, so we are definitely going to see wraiths. You don't make 2 starports for dropships. Usually, you don't need that many dropships, right? But yeah, so usually we see the Zerg coming out with Mutalisks to harass the Terran and keep them back in their base, and while they get more expansions. And usually the Terran expands as well, so it's 3 bases to 2, but Yooi is just going for basically like a little bit of a crazy all-in, and I stand corrected. Well, at least for the moment, he has actually made a dropship, and he's loading up all of his small bio army into this dropship, which he flies right over his natural expansion directly across the map, showing sAviOr that he has it instead of going around the edge. I mean, I guess he might not have known that Zergling was there, which it looks like the Zergling is following the dropship now. And so sAviOr has all this time to really quickly make some colonies and try and defend against this. Yoi's going to try and drop here in the main, and this, I mean, this is dangerous regardless, and he's going to be able to find a spot where he can drop. There's actually a spot behind the minerals. He could drop behind the minerals, and there's actually nothing sAviOr could do about it with these Zerglings, and he drops over here in this corner instead, and the Scourge going to get the dropship. They do get the dropship. Only a few units survive. Is this game over already? What the hell? This is, I mean, this has been completely pointless. He didn't even have to use the colonies that he made. He just sent some Zerglings in, and Yooi dropped kind of piecemeal in a bad location while the Zerglings were underneath the drop. Okay, I'm sorry. I just like again, you know, this guy's top 30 in the world at this point in time, but I'm comparing him to the best of the best here, so I'm kind of a little bit awestruck that he's that things are turning out this way. And you know, maybe he was expecting, okay, there's gonna be overlords below and to the right of my base, so I'm gonna be tricksy and I'm gonna go out the front door where he's not gonna scout, even though he didn't have anything out in front really blocking Zerglings from running in to see if there was an extra base or anything like that. So Yooi is now definitely on the back foot here. He's got these raids, and here come. Okay, so this is part 2 with the dropship, and sAviOr might not have been expecting this. Is the follow-up? He might have just think, oh, okay, this is one cheeky dropship, but no. And here's the true secret of this strategy. Okay, Yooi is. It's all coming together for Yooi now. The dropship was a ruse to distract him while he got his cloak up and his race going, and now he has several cloak raids. And this is basically, I mean, this is completely shut down the Mutalisk harass, so you got to hand it to him for that. This is really, really effective. He's going to start, he has that Evo chamber already, so he's going to start putting down, oh, he's going to get this drone trying to build a hidden base over here, or not hidden base, an extra base over on the side. So anyway, but sAviOr's going to be able to get some spore colonies up in order to defend against these raids in his base, but they're going to be able to hunt down overlords all over the place. They're not going to be able to get very many drones, probably. He could still sacrifice some damage and get some drones. I mean, it's not impossible, but with the spore colonies going up in different places, he's not going to get a lot of drones, and so he's going to be pretty safe from that. But that means that Yooi has map control for the moment, and the Mutalisk harass can't do anything, because there's no way he would have gotten Overlord speed up by this time. There's no way he would have even thought about getting it. You actually don't want Overlord speed usually when you're going Mutalisk harassment, because then okay, is he going to go a different route this time? Yes, he is. He's not flying out his front door. Although sAviOr, it does have an Overlord in place. It looks like he's going to lead with the Wraiths to clear out any vision. Oh, this is kind of clever. He's leading with the Wraiths to clear out any vision that might be spotting this dropship. And, oh, sAviOr dropping some drones up in the top, by the way. Very interesting. To mine out the minerals that block the expansion spots here. And here he's going to stim in. That spore colony is not going to do anything against these Marines. This is actually really clever strategy here by Yooi after all. Because now the Marines can go in and kill the ground defenses, kill all the drones with a higher level of DPS. And the Wraiths can kill off any air units that come to save the day, and he's killing off all of the drones. It looks like he's going to get this hatchery as well. The Mutalisks are on the way. There's Scourge to come in as well. If he can split the Scourge well amongst the Wraiths, he might be able to do some damage, but instead he's actually decided he's just going to lay in wait for a better opportunity. That base is already gone. There's no use in trying to defend it and endangering his Mutalisk count, so might as well just go ahead and chill there. He's got 2 more dropships now? This is crazy. This is crazy. And you know, this is something that this is the kind of thing that we see a lot in these situations where when you have a player that, oh, and here goes in with the Scourge, the Wraiths took out the Overlord that was there though. Nicely done, and he's going to knock the Scourge are not going to land. And here he's flying this dropship over. He's going to see this morphing hatchery, and it's going to be able to pick that off as well. So Yooi is actually doing really, really well with this strategy. Crucially though, sAviOr is still at 3, and he's getting a 4th base. So like, I don't know if he can win with this is the thing, because he's doing a lot of damage, and this is being really clever. He's taking a lot of control of the map. Overlord speed has been upgraded now, though, so he's going to be able to keep Overlords with that, but he's only got 1 Overlord with that group, and actually, the Wraiths just run in and die? Did he just lose all of his Wraiths? I think he just lost all of his Wraiths because he didn't target the Overlord, and they died too quick, because that is a large clump of Mutalisks. So, but there's 2 dropships now coming in here, and this is the crucial thing, because like I was saying, sAviOr is still going to win this if he's able to stay at 3 bases, but if he can drop and kill this expansion and maybe kill off some units in the secondary, he can still cripple sAviOr at this point. I don't know if those definitely Mutos are not going to be able to stop this from taking out that base, and so this is actually looking kind of bad for sAviOr in some ways. There's not a lot he can do about this. The Mutalisks are going to have to come back. I'm sure he's going to make more Scourge to take out those dropships at the same time, and he's just like, all right, well, I'm going to play whack-a-mole with my hatcheries. I'm going to just keep building hatcheries. Finally, Yooi getting a second command center, and here he comes in. Is he going to be able to take out this force? I mean, probably not. Usually you would want to send in Zerglings with your Marines, you know, or sorry, with your Mutalisks, but that's a little island base, so you can't really do that, can you? So he's just going to be forced to try and kill them off, or more likely just lay in wait, because that means that those forces are stranded on that island, and if they can't get off the island, then, well, they're just stuck there, and they're pretty much useless. They might as well be dead. But he has to keep tabs on them the whole time in order to make sure they don't do anything, so in order they don't make sure they don't get off that island, and that's going to be a little bit tricky. So, very, very interesting situation here. sAviOr has, oh, look at this Overlord. Not the place you want to be. sAviOr has taken a bunch of bases around the map as well. He's just like just hyper expanding. He's like, I'm just gonna actually build more hatcheries faster than you can kill them off, because you know, with your forces stuck on islands, sure, that's fine. I don't mind. Here's the big thing though, is now we got Yooi pushing out with a giant force of bio. Look at this. We got it looks like a couple dozen Marines. He's gonna be able to unstrand those Marines on the island base as well, leaving a single Marine there just to be obnoxious. Overlord sees this, but he's gonna take out another base. And look at this. As soon as he realizes it's too late, he's like, all right, whatever. Space is gone. I'm gonna take my Mutas somewhere else. And he still hasn't been able to do any harassment. I'm actually a little surprised. It's interesting because sAviOr has to kind of keep his Mutalisks at home in order to try and deal with those dropships, but that means he's not harassing with them. And I think he's decided, okay, well, look, these Mutos are just hanging around, not doing anything. I'm going to go in and do some harassment, spreading his Mutalisks out instead of clumping them, which is an interesting choice. Maybe he's scared of Valkyries. I mean, there is a starport. He knows there's a starport with a control tower attached to it, so Valkyries is a valid concern, I suppose, but doesn't make them as effective against turrets and Marines. And look at this. His natural expansion is just bulked up with sunken colonies to prevent against a break from that giant Marine ball, and that's pretty wise. He would need some sort of meat to go with the potatoes of the Mutalisks if he was trying to defend. And oh, no, the medics, you need to get with those Marines. Medics, what are you doing? If he catches those medics with his... Oh, man, if he caught those medics with his Mutalisks and just killed them all off, that would be devastating. Absolutely devastating for Yooi. Anyway, Yui's now powering up. Look at this. He's getting a lot more bio. He's even getting science vessels out as well, just in case there's lurker tech that has been researched. I don't think sAviOr has gotten lurker tech out, though. I'm not sure what tech he has, actually. Are we going to see Yooi actually pull this off? Because sAviOr has not been able to get these side bases up and mining. he is, I mean, he's finally getting him up and mining now, but one of the hatchery in the top right just popped. The one in the bottom left, I think, just popped as well. You can see he doesn't have a lot of drones there, except at his third. And now are these drones going to go down as well? It looks like this hatchery is going to go down one more time. And Yooi is just being masterful with the mallet here, playing whack-a-mole like a genius, just going every which way around the map and picking off expansions as they come up. He's going to lose a few forces in the back here that were just a little bit abandoned. Oh, and there's the irradiate. That is, okay, there we go. And I hadn't seen any vessels yet when I mentioned that earlier, but that's the other reason to keep your mutas divided up, is against irradiate, of course. In fact, I'm not sure why I thought like Valkyries was a concern. I think it's because I've seen like some Valkyrie games lately. Like I think Valkyries have kind of been on my mind because I've seen a few older games with Valkyries, and then like I think I mentioned like, wow, Valkyries, that's an old cool build, and someone actually mentioned like, oh, like people are doing it nowadays as well. Like in 2020, people are playing Valkyries, and I actually watched Artosis play with Valkyries against the Zerg not that long ago on his stream. So it's like, for some reason that occurred to me just as a cool thing that could happen, and Yooi is being really creative. So, but vessels are much more conventional, and so not surprised to see those either. And irradiate is super effective against mutalisks if they're clumped up, obviously. Usually we do still see Zergs will still keep their mutas clumped up, and then they'll just try and split if they're irradiated. But I don't know. And actually, well, I guess actually, but at this stage in the game, usually mutalisks are not much of an issue, come to think of it. Like, usually by the time there's vessels out, the mutalisks are not the bulk of your army, and he has a ton of mutalisks still. Usually you've switched tech into something else by then. I wouldn't be surprised if we switch over and see a greater Spire morphing in the main or something like that, actually. Excuse me, because sAviOr needs to switch up into some different kind of tech in order to try and do something about this giant ball of bio. I'm also a little surprised Yooi isn't being a little bit more aggressive still. Okay, never mind. These dropships are his aggression. He's going to load up and try and drop those bases. And I think, did sAviOr sneak a little cheeky base in the top middle? He did, and he's actually like going to cancel his units and just escape. Oh, is he going to get the Overlord? He goes for the drone first. So the Overlord escapes, but the hatchery's going to go down. Another mallet kill for Yooi, and sAviOr just has a ton of mutas on the map. Yooi has now taken a third base as well. It looks like he might be posturing to take a fourth, theoretically, in that north part. I'm not sure if he has the command center for it, but he's kind of positioning around that. Obviously checking out with his dropship. And there's the, okay, now the hive is finally morphing for sAviOr. There's the Hydralisk Den as well, so you could be getting Lurker Tech, very likely getting Lurker Tech at this point, but I don't think it's, well, I don't know, maybe he's going to get Guardians. He's got these mutas hanging around. The alternative is he just could do standard sAviOr stuff and go for Defilers and Dark Swarm and Mutiling along with that, although again, usually there's not this many Mutalisks in this kind of a late game. And it looks like sAviOr actually has a lot of Mutalisks such that he can actually split off some to harass and still keep some flying around. And here comes, oh, we're going to see a big Irradiate in just a second. There's the Irradiate. Nice split, double Irradiate, and he splits perfectly. Actually, triple, quadruple Irradiate. Wow. Just absolutely wrecking the muta count, and it looks like he did a really good split, but it didn't matter. He just had an Irradiate for almost every single Mutalisk. So the Mutalisk count has now been picked off to only a dozen. Oh, is he going to catch the dropship? No, he doesn't get the dropship. Another couple Irradiates go down. Beautiful Irradiates. The fact he's actually able to split his Irradiates up really quickly is a really powerful move by Yooi as well. And sAviOr splitting up his mutas very quickly is doing very, very effective job here. But that giant bio ball is now bearing down on the natural expansion of sAviOr. Is he going to do it? Is Yooi going to take him out? This is a perfect timing. He doesn't have any hive tech yet. He doesn't have any lurkers. Does sAviOr have anything that... He doesn't have anything to stop this. He doesn't have anything. All the Irradiates go down, all the mutas. The dropships fall. Oh no! The dropships go down to Scourge without dropping out almost anything. The Lurker's finally up, but there's only one of them. Yooi goes in and attacks a bunch of the Sunkens and then falls back. It was only one Lurker. You could have killed it. He had no mutas left. Oh man. That was, oh, jeez. If the last 20 seconds had gone slightly differently, Yooi could have broken this game wide open and might have even clinched it, because if he'd gone in just a tiny bit earlier before that lurker was there, or just realized that there was only one lurker, or been able to spread his Marines and attack better, or something like that, that would have been crucial. But even more so, imagine if those dropships land 10 Marines and some medics on the high ground. While that attack is going on, and they don't get Scourge killed before they are able to drop the units out. That makes all the difference in the world, and suddenly Yooi is just basically winning the game. He can stim in here and kill off those buildings, possibly even kill off the Greater Spire that's morphing there. I think I saw a Greater Spire, but unless I saw something else morphing there. Could have been wrong, I guess. But anyway, Yooi almost taking the game, basically. And now falling back. And he's like, all right, well, you know what? That failed. But I'm still the king of whack-a-mole, so I'm still going to keep going around the map and dropping and taking out side bases, checking them out. He's scoped out this left base. sAviOr, once again, has the hatchery pop, makes a couple drones, and is now going to lose it. And it looks like... Wow, and it looks like some cheeky stuff going over here on the bottom left as well, where Yooi is trying to set up a turret line as a pre-defense for just kind of holding off that area, and lurkers were I don't know if the lurkers were dropped there, if they just ran in there and were able to kill off some turrets, but they get irradiated. So yeah, there's the Greater Spire. In addition to the normal Spire, he did that so he can do upgrades, so he can get weapons and armor upgrades on his Mutalisks at the same time. Here's a bunch of naked lurkers out in the open. They're going to take some free damage and get irradiated, and he's just going to burrow the irradiated ones, have them buy some time. Nice. Okay, and so now the last of the Mutalisks are going to be morphed into more powerful units. Probably Guardians is what we're going to look at here. Scourge coming in here are not going to land. He's able to juke and jive those science vessels back and forth, get him back to the safety of the covering fire of the Marines. Another hatchery being bonked down into the hole. And there's the Defiler Mound. Okay, so we're going to see a little bit of classic sAviOr, classic Zerg versus Terran, and oh, that was a little bit too much juking on the part of the Scourge. They had an easy target, but they kind of went for the wrong ones. And only take out one. I think I saw one science vessel go down. Still a lot of vessels up in the air. And oh no, the Guardians go into this bottom left base, but they're just going to soak up a few irradiates and then die. And that is not going to be too good. He's actually repairing the command center, which is a little strange, but it doesn't necessarily need to do that. More Guardians are morphing as well. I mean, it kind of makes sense. It's a pretty low investment to get some Guardians up if you've got all these Mutalisks lying around. Although it's a little bit more of an investment to get the second Spire and upgrades. That's a little bit puzzling if he was going to go for that. He might have wanted to get some more Scourge to kind of protect them. But in any case, Yooi is just cracking this game wide open. He's continuing to shut down every single base that sAviOr gets. Well, most of the bases that sAviOr gets. And this is what I was going to say, actually. The bottom middle and the middle right are the ones that he's been able to keep. And the bottom middle, he's getting some stuff irradiated down there. It's only got a few drones, and he's killing off some defenses with his science vessels. Meanwhile, Yooi taking the top right, taking the mid left. Another drop going down here in the bottom left, though, to take this position back away from Yooi. And even with if that gets killed off, excuse me, even if that gets killed off, and it looks like it will, actually, maybe not. These Marines are coming in here. Is there more backup? No, I think that's it, actually. It's just those Marines. The science vessels, maybe out of energy, are not doing enough damage there. And Guardians are attacking the top right. Is this the comeback for sAviOr? Maybe, maybe not. It looks like he might be able to kill off that bottom left expansion. Top right, it looks like Yooi actually didn't have a base there, or it's already been killed off, perhaps. Or maybe I'm just not seeing it, but there's not... Oh, yeah, it looks like it's just been floated off to the side, I think. Oh, no! He can't lose that. Marines dropping out, and... Oh, no! He actually... Well, that was interesting. It didn't go nearly as catastrophically as I thought. The Scourge were right on top of those dropships. I thought they were going to take him out very quickly, but they, in fact, didn't, despite the fact that he kind of, like, didn't move the dropships. He could have kept moving them and dropped the units out as he was moving them. And there's Scourge finally kill off that one, and he's going to take out the Sunken, and then those going to... Oh, nice defense matrixing the Marines as they battle against the drones. Very interesting combination. He kills the Nidus Canal as well to prevent reinforcements. That's actually really good because that means that sAviOr's going to have to either rebuild that Nidus or he's going to have to get some other way of defending it because another drop. And look, those actually, holy crap, the Defense Matrix Marines are still alive, still killing off lots and lots of drones. So many kills on these Marines. With the +2 weapons upgrade, they're doing a massive amount of damage to, I think, 0 Carapace ground units for the Zerg. And we do have the, well, you don't need Carapace if you're protected by a Dark Swarm. So that is the counter to that, I guess. And it looks like, yeah, sAviOr's going to lose that 6 o'clock base or 6:30 base again. And is he going to get the hatchery? Where is he going with those Marines? He's trying to move out of the way, trying to micro around. Oh, the hatchery is down to about 100 hit points, and it's finally going to be saved. So he actually keeps the hatchery, but all the drones already died. So it's kind of a, does sAviOr not know that base is in the top right? He's dropped a drone there. It's like he's going to build his own base. That's kind of interesting. It looks like sAviOr's going to take top middle again as well, continuing to pop out of every hole in the game board, trying to just make all these bases. And Yooi has still kept his left side base, by the way. It looks like the bottom left base survived as well. He's got the top right base going strong. So Yooi is just in a commanding position here. I feel like, I mean, it is late game Zerg, so there's not necessarily a guaranteed win for the Terran, but he's got the upgrade advantage. And we just don't see the Carapace upgrades necessary for the ground units to really do as much as they need to, I think. He's got some Defilers out. I think Yooi critically does need to be hunting around with those Science Vessels, trying to do some more picking off. And oh, wow. He scans this huge drop being loaded up. He knows that there's a danger there. He's going to try and catch the Overlords. He's sending in vessels, and he irradiates the Defiler. He irradiates some of the Lurkers, but there's still... okay, he actually Dark Swarms the high ground just in time before that Lurker... Sorry, before the Defiler dies. Drops out some of the Lurkers there as well. But with the Defiler dead, they're not going to be able to progress any farther. It looks like he's going to be able to defend this pretty well. Science Vessels are there. Where are these medics? These medics... the medics in Yui's army love just kind of going off on their own and being like, we're just going to go have a healing party by ourselves and heal each other and slack off a little bit as far as healing the Marines. Oh, Marines do defend most of those vessels. He's doing a good job of keeping those vessels alive. He's doing a decent job of killing off units around the map now with those Science Vessels. He needs to be a little bit more on top of it, though, on irradiating, just making sure he's using up that energy to irradiate as much as possible. Just try and pick those units off. I mean, that's the power of the late game Terran army, is the Science Vessels. The Science Vessels are the core because they have renewable damage. You know, the energy keeps going up and you don't have to spend any more money in order to get... He irradiates an Overlord. That's kind of interesting. Here he comes in. Now this is what he needs to be doing, is irradiating these different Overlords and... I'm sorry, different Lurkers, killing those off. Nicely done. Those Lurkers are going to die. And not before the medics go in there to just like take some free damage, because they're like, hey, if we're gonna have like a healing party on our own, we need to take some damage so that we can heal each other. It's part of the healing party. The Lurkers all go down in the top right, though. He just kind of forgot about them, didn't move them in for another attack, didn't go up and try and follow up with Dark Swarm. Now here's a big attack coming in. Well, I should say significant attack, not necessarily big, because there's only 3 Overlords, but he does manage to get enough Lurkers down that he's going to be able to kill off a lot of those turrets, actually, because there's not a lot to do there. And I would love to see a Queen from sAviOr right now, just because he's been killing so many command centers. Or had the option of possessing them with Queens, that I just think it'd be amusing. And it would actually be effective. Like, it's not just a meme. It would actually be effective in that, like, you know, if the command center gets down to, I think, 500 health, you can infest it with a Queen, and that's going to speed up your taking over of that command center a lot. So just, I don't know, something to think about. Anyway, more barracks, it looks like, being built here at the bottom left, but there's just a lot of scrappy battles going on around the map now. This game has gotten a little bit scrappy, and usually when it's scrappy, the better players with the better multitasking are the ones that can come out on top. I still think that Yooi does have a bit of an advantage here because, again, sAviOr is just down to, well, the bottom base and the right base are the only ones. His main and his natural are both mined out right now. Yooi has 1, 2, 3 bases running right now. And actually, sAviOr has somehow managed to take the island base at 930, where Yooi, it's just right next to Yui's main. And what is going on here? Okay, yeah, Hydralisk's not the best place where they want to be. And Marines falling back away from these Hydras. They're more than a match when there's no Dark Swarm. It's kind of interesting, though, that like they're only Hydras, so he could have actually put his Marines under the Dark Swarm and would have been fine, because I don't think there's any lurkers there. Look at that giant, just absolute bucket of science vessels there. A huge squad of science vessels running around the map. If sAviOr doesn't do something about that, he needs to do a Plague Mutalisk attack combo or something like that. Otherwise, the science vessels are just going to reign supreme. There's the Plague. He does have it researched. And here come the science vessels, but he already used his energy on that Plague. He's just irradiating everything, even irradiating Hydralisks. Irradiating Hydralisks. He's got that much energy on his science vessels. It's crazy. He just doesn't care. He can just irradiate at will. And he's even got extra science vessels back in his main base that he's built that he isn't even using. Yeah, sAviOr not looking satisfied here at all. And it looks like Yooi might be able to take a game off the once in future champion. Once in future meaning that he has won games before and he doesn't know it now, because things are looking grim for him, but he's going to win championships again. But not before Yooi at least takes a game off of him, because this is not looking good for him at all. And the fact that sAviOr was not happy about the situation is the main thing. Like, my analysis is one thing, but sAviOr's analysis of the game while being in it is the most important telltale we have here, that sAviOr is just on the ropes, and he's just got nothing to deal with all these science vessels. He's even split them up into different groups of vessels. He's that many. He's got like 3 or 4 in his main. He's got 3 or 4 in the top right, 5 or 6 in the bottom left area. He can just go everywhere, and even one Plague won't even take out all of the vessels. So, and it's got to the point where he's building Hydralisks to deal with the vessels, because the vessels are the main bulk of Yui's army at this point. It's crazy. It's crazy. He needs to build some more lurkers to go with them, because there's also tons and tons of medic marines. He's using these defilers very effectively, but I just don't know if it's enough. Yeah, here we come down to the bottom left. He's got the swarm set up, and oh nope, just gonna irradiate some Hydras just for fun. And he actually attacks the Hydras just to kill them off, just to keep them from raiding their neighbors as much. Sometimes you actually see players will research burrow just for that reason. So if something gets irradiated, they can just hit R and burrow it out of the way. Look at those cheeky Hydras poking their heads out of the Dark Swarm to pick off Marine, running back underneath the safety of it. And that Dark Swarm is going to go down any moment now. And then that will be the end of those Hydras at the hands of Medic Marine, it looks like. Wow, and sAviOr is just... Where is he mining right now? He's mining at the right side. No, he's almost mined out at the right side. He's still got those gas mines. And that's kind of the crazy thing, is sAviOr has so many... He's had... I should say, so many gas mines, because some of those island expansions have 2 gases, and it's absolutely kind of crazy that he's had access to so much gas and he hasn't been able to build up. And that's why we saw him have so many Mutalisks earlier, I think. And oh no, here he comes in just radiating. He's got more science vessels than Hydralisks. When you've got more science vessels than Hydralisks, there's a problem for the Zerg. And here he is, just kind of, there's nothing sAviOr can do. He's falling back behind his Sunkens. And here we see it repeated before. This time the Scourge will not save him. This time the Sunken Colonies will not stop him from going in. And this is going to be the end of sAviOr in this game. And wow. So Yui's going to stim in and start attacking the main base. And once he takes out those tech buildings, it will be completely over for sAviOr. So yeah, you can see it on his face there. And we're going to see him type out GG. And very, very well played by Yooi. Wow. 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 Wow, that was awesome. That was awesome. Absolutely amazing play. Absolutely amazing play. That was really cool. I must say, like, I have to admit, like, I wasn't expecting that. Like, I was like, this is Yooi the Scrub versus sAviOr, the maestro of Zerg. Kind of in his prime, you know, and like, how can Yooi possibly do anything about that? But he did it. He did it. And so pretty amazing play there. Just absolutely well done by sAviOr. And I'm sorry, by Yooi. And just to think about going back to how that started. It started off with sAviOr getting 3 bases, starting to get a 4th, while Yooi was on 1 base. And Yooi just scrapped his way back into it just by getting cloaked wraiths to deal with the Mutalisks and getting masses of dropships. He probably built 7 or 8 dropships during that game, and he kept a lot of them for a long time each, and just using bunches of dropships to pick off all those little island bases all around the map, and sAviOr just couldn't stop it from doing it. He just didn't have the defenses up to stop him from picking up. And it was probably because he was getting them early. He was getting them early and often. He really was playing whack-a-mole like a champ. And, because if sAviOr had gotten drones mining at those little island bases and then built a couple spores and a couple sunks and a lurker at each base and the Nidus and all that, like if he gotten his defenses up and his mobility up, like then we wouldn't have been able to see Yooi go around and pick them off as easily as he was. But he was catching them when they were just popping out, just popping as hatcheries, or when there was just starting to build, or when there was just a handful of drones and they didn't have any defenses left or anything like that. So Yooi just did an expert job of really just picking them apart there. Just beautifully done. Beautifully done. All right, well, I'm going to leave it there then. And that was a fun game. I'm glad I did that game. And I'm glad that I underestimated Yooi, because it makes his performance that much more exciting to me that he was able to pull that off. So that was really fun. And it's good to see sAviOr go down, you jerk. Ruining esports. God. Anyway, I will give a little bit of a spoiler about the rest of this series. It was actually like kind of a group type stage, I think. I'm not exactly sure how it works. These old MSLs had a weird format, and so I'm still not precisely sure how they worked, but it was like round robin type stuff. And so point being, sAviOr did actually still advance on, and he actually advanced by beating Choja, his nemesis from the previous MSL. So anyway, so sAviOr did go on and did further in this, and I'll just leave it at that. I won't say exactly how everything went for him in this MSL, in case there's more games in this MFL to come in the rest of the VODs that I have, or in case you want to just go, look them up and watch the videos yourself somewhere else. All right, thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. GG.